Because my feet feel good because I've been wearing these shoes. So who made New Balance cool, DC or Philly? I don't know, man. I got some folks.
I think my dad did, honestly. My dad's been wearing those since the 90s. Nebraska.
Nah, there's only 2 pair of New Balances that are acceptable, the 992s and the 993s. Those are the only 2 acceptable pairs.
Back then.
Everything else was trash.
It's debatable now. They got some other joints. Joe Freshgood, Chicago guy.
Word.
Yeah, he's designing a lot of stuff for him. That's why my feet start feeling well.
In addition, I'm assuming like the ramp up, in addition to having good feet, good shoe wear. I mean, over the past couple of weeks, Steve says you started to scrimmage, and that's kind of how you guys started to settle on tomorrow's return date. Is that accurate, would you say?
Yeah, probably. I just stuck to the plan. Rick had a plan all along, and just buying into that. He's done an excellent job with since he's been here, handling different injuries, and people don't realize how many seasons we played in a short period of time, just going to the final so many times, and navigating through all that and seeing the ills of professional athletes. So just bought into his plan, and it's been it's worked to a T.
What do you envision your role being, when you're back out there on the court?
Just being myself, just figuring it out, on the fly, whatever's needed. So looking forward to it. This guy back here has been playing really well, so looking forward to getting out there with him. We've had a lot of bodies out. Wiggs has been out for the longest period for him. Steph's out, JK's foot. And so just trying to, our two-way guys, the two-way guys have got a lot of time, but it says more about them playing well, but there's a little bit of just navigating some injuries as well, and trying to get it consistent with our lineups. Even Jermichael, what happened to him out of nowhere, and then even Dante went down early this year, so we got bit by the bug a little bit. So hopefully start to get everybody back and just get a good rhythm.
You just talked about Anthony. As a two-way guy, with you out, with Wiggins out, he's had to obviously step his game up too. How has he impressed you the most this year, especially as a two-way contract guy?
I think with his confidence, I don't think people understand how important you have to have a high level of confidence, but actually, at the same time, some humility with your confidence, especially depending on who you are. It's only 1 or 2 guys per team that they can do whatever they want. There's no really sacrifice from it. Everyone else kind of has to fit the role, and it's a less is more mentality. And I think he's done a really good job of having a really good balance. And he's always shot the ball really well. I don't think anyone knew that he shot the ball this well. But he continues to work every day. He's here early, he's here late. And guys like him, Moses Moody is the same way, just the way they carry themselves. And it says a lot about the culture, but also a lot about, just them looking for guys like that who will make the most of their time here and even extend their time because of the work ethic.
Steve said that you're going to be under a minute restriction. Do you know what that is, and how do you kind of just see your timeline for the rest of the season? Is it going to be like a game on, a game off, or is it just going to be listening to your body and seeing?
Yeah, just working with Rick. I think, if it's a minute restriction, that's fine. Try not to get too caught up, because now you start overthinking it or you're pressing it based on how many minutes you're playing. You just got to do what you got to do with what you got, and looking at it as from a whole, and not from, one night I only played a certain amount of minutes, or only got a certain amount of shots. Just looking at it from, I've been playing for so long, I understand it's, June is a lot more important than January.
What have you just seen from this team as of late in the way that they were able to respond from back-to-back losses in New York to go 5-1 on this homestand, even without Steph and Andrew?
Yeah. It's kind of like the perfect storm in terms of, struggled out the gate, or I don't know if you call it struggle, but, we just haven't been able to get our rhythm. And then Steph goes down and, it gets gloomy, and, you win 4 championships now. The entire area has become basketball experts once you start winning championships. It's interesting how that happens, and everyone has something to say about what's here, what's there, who you draft, and everything's under a microscope. But I think talk about confidence. We have to remind ourselves, like, we won 4 championships and we know what we're doing, and just following the game plan, and everything can work itself out. But to exactly answer that question, it's really good for the younger guys to start building their confidence when Steph's out and getting wins. And then when he comes back, that confidence is still rolling. And now you got the second group rolling. You know, there was a lot of talk about that early in the season, and things starting to click. And you know, it's funny because we're still like right there in the West, not playoffs, but just getting a home court advantage type seed.
I think people kind of forget how young Jordan Poole is and how early he is in his career. But just with some of his recent turnover struggles, being more of a primary ball handler, what do you think he can learn from this stretch or grow from some of these mistakes that he's maybe made late in game?
Well, I mean, it's just all learning experience. That's what it is. I think I led the league in turnovers one year in Philly. And I know where I'm at in terms of a player. They ask me how I'm feeling in terms of coming back. I always say, once I get all my turnovers out the way, I'm fine. Just got to get the turnovers out the way. And it's just a process that a ball-dominant guy has to go through in the NBA. You start understanding how important possessions are. But like I said before, you'd rather go through it in January and understanding how important those possessions are, so it helps you in June. So it's not something that I'm, overly stressed about. And he's a guy that really is really into the game of basketball, so he really cares, and he's upset more than anybody else. So I'm not worried about that at all.
Do you think you being back in the mix might help him, in that area, just kind of play off the ball more, maybe not have to have the ball in his hands as much?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I'm trying to get him easier shots, and I know for a fact he enjoys being out there with myself and Draymond, because our skill set is to facilitate and to help them make life easier for them. And so I know he understands that for a fact. He's expressed that to both of us. Hopefully that is the case.
With the focus being the latter half of the season and the playoffs having you healthy, do you feel like this freshness might have even tightened up certain parts of your game, your shot being even more improved from last season?
Yeah, last season was just weird because last year was the opposite. I came out the gate just so hot and strong, and then I might have played too many games early on, or I was doing too much. So like I said, Rick had a really good approach to it, even in September, late September, early October, and he kind of mapped it out. So he's been on point so far.
Obviously, you guys haven't been in a couple of years, but what makes these White House trips so special?
I don't know if I can answer that without getting in trouble.
I think you're probably fine to answer.
I'm so excited.
You see it on your face.
I like going when Barack was there. It was a cool experience to hang out with Barack. But we're going to Howard. I'm looking forward to that, watching Howard, going to one of their games, and then sitting down with their student body for a panel. And then we're going to the MLK Monument, which I haven't been there. I've been to the Smithsonian African American History Museum. I've been there. That was a great experience. So, I don't know. I'm looking forward to those things.
You said on your podcast that you're excited but also a little nervous for tomorrow. Just can you elaborate on what your mentality or feelings are heading into your season debut?
I think I just expect a lot of myself, and then but I overanalyze sometimes too. So, trying to be perfect when you're not. But I think more than anything, if you just go out there and look to have fun and just play with a winning mentality, everything takes care of itself, and that's just naturally who I am. So I think I'll be fine.